The envelope waited in the mailbox like a ghost that had finally found its way home. Its cream paper crisp against the rusted metal. Addressed in elegant script to Elena and Charlie Whitaker. Charlie's fingers trembled as she pulled it free. The weight of it heavier than any bill or junk mail. Because Elena had been gone 5 years now. Her name reduced to etched granite in a Burlington cemetery. Not this living ink on forgotten stationery. She tore it open right there on the porch steps. The October wind whipping leaves across her boots. And the first line hit like a freight train. My darlings. If you're reading this, it means I've waited too long to tell you the truth. Charlie's breath caught. A sharp inhale that burned her lungs. As if the world had tilted just enough to spill her back into the life she'd clawed her way out of. 5 years of mornings without Elena's laugh echoing through their creaky Victorian house on Pearl Street. 5 years of sketching charcoal portraits in the attic studio Elena had built for her. 5 years of pretending the ache in her chest was just the Vermont chills seeping in. She was 35 now. Her auburn waves streaked with premature silver from the stress of it all. Her green eyes sharper but wearier. Framed by the faint lines of too many sleepless nights. Burlington had been their haven. A quirky college town nestled against Lake Champlain. Where the Adirondacks loomed like silent guardians and the farmers' markets buzzed with maple syrup and second chances. Charlie had stayed. Tending the small gallery downtown where she sold her pieces. Moody landscapes that captured the fog rolling off the water. The kind that made buyers whisper about lost loves and unspoken regrets. But this letter, postmarked from Brooklyn with no return address beyond a name, Riley Donovan, threatened to unravel it all. Charlie sank onto the top step, the wood groaning under her, and unfolded the pages with hands that felt like they belonged to someone else. The words blurred at first, then sharpened into a narrative she couldn't unsee. Riley, Elena's college sweetheart from their Dartmouth days. The one Charlie had always dismissed as a faded Polaroid in Elena's past. They had been young and reckless. Riley wrote, in love in a way that burned hot and left scars. When Elena discovered she was pregnant, through a sperm donor they chose together in a haze of youthful dreaming about family, they'd panicked. Elena, ever the planner, had insisted on giving the baby up for adoption, but Riley couldn't let go. She'd kept the girl. Raised her alone in the chaos of New York City, naming her Nora after Elena's favorite poet. Elena had visited in secret over the years, wiring money, sending letters that Riley burned to protect them both, but never once mentioning it to Charlie. She loved you fiercely, Riley confessed, her handwriting looping with a vulnerability that felt invasive. But this was her shame. Her fear that it would break what you built. Nora's 20 now. Asking questions I can't answer alone. She's ready to know her other mother. Please, Charlie. For Elena's sake. The paper crumpled in Charlie's fist. Her pulse thundering in her ears like the distant rumble of a storm over the lake. Pregnant. Elena. With her dark curls and infectious smile. The woman who had danced with Charlie under string lights at their wedding reception. Who had whispered promises of forever while tracing patterns on her bare back. How many times had they talked about kids? Half serious in bed. Elena's head on Charlie's shoulder. Saying it was enough just to have each other? Lies. All of it. Buried deeper than the casket Charlie had lowered into that rainy October soil. A car accident on I-89. A slick road after a nor'easter. And Elena was gone. Leaving Charlie to sift through the wreckage alone. The gallery. The house. The endless cycle of coffee and canvases. It had all been a fragile scaffold holding her upright. She stood abruptly. The letter clutched to her chest. and stumbled inside, the screen door slamming behind her like an accusation. The kitchen smelled of chamomile tea she'd forgotten to finish that morning, the mug still warm on the counter. Charlie's best friend, Mia, a barista at Radio Bean with a pixie cut and a knack for reading her silences, had texted earlier, "Coffee run? You sound off." Off didn't cover it. This was a chasm opening under her feet, pulling her back to the woman she'd loved more than breath itself, only to reveal cracks she'd never suspected. That night, Charlie didn't sleep. She paced the living room, the letter spread open on the coffee table like a map to a territory she feared. Memories flooded in unbidden. Their first date at Hen of the Wood. Elena's knee brushing hers under the table. The way her brown eyes sparkled over candlelight as she confessed, "I've never felt this before, Charlie." Like home. They'd built a life here. Adopting a mutt named Jasper who now snored by the fireplace, oblivious to the turmoil. Charlie had thrown herself into her art after the funeral, her strokes turning darker, more abstract, swirls of indigo and crimson that echoed the bruise of loss. The gallery owner, Theo, a silver-haired queer elder who'd mentored her, called her work visceral poetry. But poetry didn't prepare you for this. A daughter. Hidden. Waiting. By dawn, with the first pink light staining the lake view from her window, Charlie made a decision. She couldn't ignore it. Couldn't burn the letter like Riley had burned Elena's secrets. Nora deserved a piece of the mother she'd lost before she even knew her. And Charlie? Maybe this was the reckoning she'd been avoiding. The chance to unearth what Elena had buried and see if love could bloom from the rot. She grabbed her phone, fingers hovering over the number Riley had included, a Brooklyn exchange, 718 area code. One ring. Two. And a voice answered, husky with sleep and something like hope. "Hello, Riley. This is Charlie Whitaker. We need to talk." The line went quiet. Then a soft exhale. "I knew you'd call." "Got Charlie. You sound just like she described." Riley's voice carried the faint lilt of someone who'd grown up chasing fireflies in rural Pennsylvania before the city claimed her. A cadence that tugged at threads Charlie didn't know were loose. They spoke for hours that first call, the sun climbing higher over Burlington's spires, casting long shadows across Charlie's sketchbooks. Riley was 42, a freelance photographer whose portfolio brimmed with gritty street scenes from Bushwick lofts to Coney Island boardwalks. Raw, unfiltered glimpses of lives intersecting like subway lines. She'd raised Nora in a walk-up in Williamsburg, scraping by on gigs and grit. Elena's occasional checks a lifeline she'd never asked for but desperately needed. "She was my what if," Riley admitted. Her words measured, as if testing the ice between them. "But you were her always." Charlie paced the length of her kitchen, phone pressed to her ear, Jasper trailing her with worried whines. The revelation sat heavy in her gut, a stone skipping across the surface of her grief, each bounce revealing ripples she hadn't anticipated. Why hide it? Elena, with her organized desk drawers and color-coded calendars, the woman who planned their anniversary trips to the Berkshires with military precision, how could she compartmentalize a child? Charlie remembered the nights Elena would vanish for work trips to the city, returning with vague stories of client meetings and Broadway shows. Lies woven so seamlessly into their tapestry that Charlie had never tugged the thread. "Tell me about Nora," Charlie said finally, sinking into a chair by the window, the lake a slate-gray mirror reflecting her turmoil. Riley hesitated, then softened, her voice warming like sunlight on film emulsion. She's a force. 20 years old. Studying graphic design at Pratt. With Elena's curls and my stubborn streak. Loves indie bands. Vegan tacos from the truck on Bedford. And sketching in Prospect Park. She's got this quiet fire. Asks questions that cut right to the bone. Last year, she found the adoption papers in my closet. Confronted me. And I spilled it all. Elena's name. The donor. The visits. Nora's been piecing together who she is ever since. Charlie closed her eyes, imagining a girl with Elena's full lips and mischievous tilt to her smile, navigating Brooklyn's chaos with the same grace Elena had brought to their quiet life. Does she know about me? Not yet. I wanted to give you the choice. But she senses there's more. She's been dreaming of a woman with green eyes. Or so she says, probably just her subconscious filling gaps. The call ended with a tentative plan. Charlie would come to New York in 2 weeks. After the gallery's fall show. Time to process. To pack the ghosts she'd been carrying. Hanging up. Charlie felt the house expand around her. Emptier than before. She wandered upstairs to the bedroom. Elena's side still made with hospital corners. Her scent long faded from the linens but lingering in the lavender sachet Charlie tucked under the pillow. She pulled out the wedding album from the nightstand, flipping through glossy pages of them in white lace and wildflowers, toasting champagne under a canopy of maples. Elena's laugh lines. Her hand possessive on Charlie's waist. Had any of it been real? Or just a beautiful facade? The next days blurred into a haze of preparation and unraveling. Charlie threw herself into the gallery show. Fractured Horizons. Her newest series of oils depicting the lake at dusk. Horizons splintered like shattered glass. Theo noticed her distraction, cornering her amid crates of framing supplies. You're glowing and gutted at the same time. Kid. Spill. Over beers at Farmhouse Taproom that evening. With Mia tagging along. Her tattooed arms slung over a stool. Eyes sharp as ever, Charlie let it pour out. The letter. The secret. The impending trip. Mia, who'd lost her own partner to cancer 2 years back, squeezed her hand. This isn't betrayal. Char. It's Elena being human. Messy. Scared human. Go meet them. You deserve the full picture. Theo nodded. His voice gravelly from years of chain-smoking menthols. And if it's too much, you walk. But don't bury yourself here. Charlie. Elena wouldn't want that. The show opened on a crisp Friday. The Pearl Street Gallery humming with locals in flannel and out-of-towners bundled against the wind. Charlie wore the emerald dress Elena had picked for her last Valentine's, the fabric whispering against her skin like a memory. Buyers murmured approval. A collector from Boston snapping up 3 pieces. But Charlie's mind wandered to Nora's sketches. Riley's photographs, parallel lives orbiting the one she'd known. As the night wound down, a woman approached. Mid-40s with salt and pepper hair in a bob. Holding a glass of Pinot. Your work guts me, she said. Her gaze lingering. That blue. It's like drowning in regret. Charlie smiled faintly. The compliment landing soft. Regret's a good teacher. Sometimes. They talked for an hour. The woman Lydia. A therapist from Montpelier, sharing stories of her own widowhood. The slow rebuild. It was easy. Uncomplicated. A reminder that connection didn't always come laced with secrets. But as Lydia left her card, Charlie felt a pang, not for what might be, but for what she'd lost the capacity to chase. Packing for New York became a ritual of excavation. She folded the letter into her suitcase, alongside Elena's favorite scarf, a silk thing dyed the color of autumn leaves. Jasper watched from the bed, head tilted, as if sensing the shift. "I'll be back, boy," she murmured, scratching his ears. The Amtrak ticket burned in her pocket. A one-way to Penn Station. Return open-ended. The train rattled north through the Green Mountains, then south along the Hudson, Charlie's reflection ghosting in the window. She sketched idly, a rough outline of a woman with curls, another with a camera slung over her shoulder, testing the shapes of strangers who felt dangerously familiar. Doubt crept in with the mile markers. What if Nora hated her for not knowing? What if Riley's life exposed Elena's frailties in ways Charlie couldn't forgive? But beneath it, a flicker of curiosity, like the first crack of light in a darkroom. Penn Station hit her like a wave, hustle of heels on tile, the acrid bite of pretzels and exhaust. Riley waited by the Amtrak board, taller than Charlie imagined, with lean athlete's build and hazel eyes crinkled at the corners. Her dark hair was pulled into a loose ponytail, jeans tucked into boots scuffed from city streets. She held a cardboard sign like a joke. "Whitaker Party of 3? Charlie laughed, surprising herself. The sound rusty. Guilty. They hugged awkwardly. Riley's embrace firm, scented with coffee and darkroom chemicals. "You look like her," Riley said as they emerged into the October bustle. Taxis honking. The eyes. Fierce. Over falafel at a hole in the wall on Atlantic Avenue. The barriers cracked. Riley's apartment was a fifth-floor walk-up crammed with prints pinned to walls. Nora's artwork taped over textbooks. Photos everywhere. Nora as a toddler with pudding-smeared cheeks. Elena in one candid shot from years back, laughing on a bench in Central Park. Her face younger, unlined. Charlie's throat tightened. "She came every spring," Riley explained, pouring chamomile. "Cherry blossoms." Said it reminded her of beginnings and endings. Charlie asked, voice steady despite the storm inside. Riley met her gaze. "Those two. But she always left stronger." "Because of you." Nora arrived late, bursting through the door with a sketchpad under her arm and earbuds dangling. She was Elena reborn, same height, same cascade of dark waves, but with Riley's angular jaw and a tattoo of a compass rose peeking from her sleeve. "Mom," she said, then froze, eyes widening on Charlie. "Oh. Hi." The room held its breath. Three women orbiting a shared absence. The air thick with what-ifs and whys. Charlie extended a hand, palm up. "I'm Charlie." "You're. Well, Elena talked about you." "A lot." Nora's fingers brushed hers, tentative, then gripped. "She did? What did she say?" "Everything." Charlie lied softly. "The first of many bridges to build." "Let's start there." The first dinner was a minefield disguised as takeout Thai from the spot on Kent Avenue. The three of them cross-legged on Riley's threadbare rug. Steam rising from curries that burned the tongue and loosened the guards. Nora dove in with questions, her voice a melody of curiosity edged with caution. Born in Brooklyn, raised on subway serenades and library story hours, she'd always known she was special, a word Riley used to cloak the adoption until Nora demanded the truth at 18. "I found the letters," she confessed. Chopsticks poised over pad CW. "Burned ones. In the trash." "Elena's handwriting." I pieced it like a puzzle. Riley shot Charlie a look, apology. Exhaustion. The weight of solo parenting a creative kid in a city that devoured dreamers. I thought protecting you meant shielding Elena too. Stupid. In hindsight. Charlie nodded. The spice blooming heat in her chest, mirroring the flush of unearthed anger. Protecting. Elena's favorite word. Uttered in therapy sessions after the accident when Charlie unraveled, or during quiet fights over Elena's late nights at the nonprofit, advocating for queer youth in Albany. She protected me from everything, Charlie said. Voice low. Even her. Nora leaned forward. Elena's eyes bright. Tell me about Vermont. Did she love the snow? They talked until the containers cooled. Stories unfurling like film strips. Elena's obsession with Ben and Jerry's flavor hunts. Her midnight drives to stargaze at Smuggler's Notch. The way she'd hum show tunes while cooking risotto. Flower-dusted and radiant. Charlie shared the light parts first. The ones that painted Elena golden. But Nora's gaze pulled deeper. What was her laugh like? The girl asked. Sketching absently, a quick line of a woman dancing. Curls flying. Like bells in a storm, Charlie replied. The memory slicing sweet. Loud. Unapologetic. She'd throw her head back. And the whole room lit up. Riley watched them. Her silence a canvas for subtle shifts. A softening around her mouth. The way her fingers traced the rim of her glass. She added her brushstrokes sparingly. Elena's college pranks. The time they skinny dipped in the Connecticut River. High on freedom and first love. Laughter bubbled up. Tentative. Binding them in shared grief's strange alchemy. But nightfall brought the undercurrents. Charlie crashed on the futon. The city hum seeping through cracks, sirens. Laughter from the bar below, while Riley and Nora retreated to their rooms. In the dim glow of her phone, Charlie scrolled old photos. Elena at Pride in Burlington. Rainbow flag draped like a cape. Their honeymoon hike in the whites. Hands linked against granite peaks. Betrayal nod. A quiet rodent. Why you? Riley, why a child? When we dreamed of our own. Morning brought coffee from devotion. Black and bold. And a walk to the East River. Nora led. Chattering about her thesis on digital collage, layering identities like Photoshop masks. It's about what we hide and what we reveal, she said. Snapping pics with her phone. Riley and Charlie trailed. The autumn air crisp with fallen ginkgo. Their steps sinking unconsciously. You handle this well, Riley murmured. Falling in beside Charlie. Close. She was arresting. Faint laugh lines from years behind the lens. A silver stud in her ear catching the light. Most would bolt. Charlie shrugged. Hands in pockets. Grief's taught me staying hurts more. But this. It's layers I didn't sign up for. Riley stopped by a bench. The water churning gray below. I never wanted to append your life. Elena swore it was closed. A chapter. But Nora deserved both sides. Both mothers, Charlie corrected. The word foreign on her tongue. Mother. To a girl who looked so much like the woman she'd lost. Yet carried Riley's fire in her stride. They spent the day wandering McCarran Park. Where Nora sketched buskers. A vintage shop on with where Charlie found a locket like Elena's. Engraving faded but legible. Always. Riley captured it all in candids. Her Nikon extension of her gaze. Lingering on Charlie's profile against brick walls. You photograph like you see souls, Charlie said once. Caught in the frame. Riley lowered the camera, cheeks warming. Habit. Elena said I captured what words couldn't. By evening, the trio decamped to a dive bar in Greenpoint, Nora nursing a ginger ale while Riley ordered IPAs. The jukebox played Fleetwood Mac, Landslide weaving through smoke and chatter, and Nora dragged them to the tiny dance floor. Charlie hesitated, body remembering Elena's sway, but Riley's hand on her elbow was gentle insistence. They moved awkwardly at first, Riley's height making her lead, Charlie's frame fitting against her like a puzzle piece long misplaced. Nora cheered from the sidelines, phone aloft, freezing the moment. Later, buzzed and bold, Charlie cornered Riley in the kitchenette, Nora asleep on the couch. Did you love her still? When she came to see Nora, Riley leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Love doesn't switch off. It evolves. Gratefulness. Mostly. For the gift. But you, she lit up talking about you. Said you were her anchor. Charlie stepped closer. The air between them charged, like static before a shot. And now? Am I just the anchor to her ghost? Riley's eyes darkened, hand rising to brush Charlie's jaw. No. You're real. Standing here, breathing. The kiss was inevitable. Soft at first, tasting of hops and hesitation, then deepening as walls crumbled. Charlie pulled back, heart hammering. This is insane. Riley smiled, rueful. Welcome to my life. That night, tangled in sheets on the futon, Charlie dreamed of Elena, not accusatory, but approving. Her hand waving from a dock on Champlain, urging her forward. Waking to Riley's even breaths beside her. Nora's sketchpad open on the table. Charlie felt the first stir of possibility. Not replacement, but reclamation, a family forged from fractures. But secrets have tendrils. The next day, over brunch at Sweet Green, Nora's phone buzzed with a text from an old flame, pulling her away for coffee. Alone, Riley handed Charlie an envelope, yellowed. Elena's script. She left this with me. For if it ever came to this. Charlie's hand shook as she opened it. My love. If you're reading this, forgive me. I hid to protect us. But truth is the only light. Love her like you loved me. Be free. Tears blurred the ink. But beneath the sorrow, a spark. Freedom. Charlie folded it away, turning to Riley. Tell me everything. From the beginning. And Riley did. Over walks in the rain-slicked streets. The story unfolding like a long exposure. The clinic in Boston. The positive test. Elena's terror of losing Riley to motherhood's demands. The adoption papers signed in tears. Riley's resolve to keep her. The visits. Stolen weekends where Elena bonded with toddler Nora over blocks and books. Always leaving with promises. She cried every time, Riley said. Voice thick. Felt like abandoning herself. Charlie absorbed it. The pain mingling with understanding. Elena's silences. Her sudden hugs. Cracks in armor now visible. Back in Burlington a week later. The train ride south, a blur of reflection. Charlie unpacked more than clothes. She hung Nora's sketch in the studio. Texted Riley goodnight with a heart emoji. Tentative as a first brushstroke. Weeks turned to months. Visits reciprocal, Nora in Vermont for leaf peeping. Charlie in Brooklyn for Nora's thesis defense. Bonds knit slow. Strong. Baking Elena's apple crisp recipe. Nora's laughter filling the house. Riley's camera chronicling it all, capturing Charlie's smile widening frame by frame. Yet conflict brewed. Mia noticed first. Over wine at her apartment. "You're falling, aren't you?" For Riley. Charlie denied it. Then admitted. "It's wrong. Elena's barely cold in my heart." "Bullshit," Mia said gently. "Elena's gone. But you're not. Let yourself live." The storm hit during Nora's winter break. Staying over in Brooklyn, Charlie overheard Riley on the phone, arguing with an ex about shared darkroom space. Voice sharp. Jealousy flared. Irrational. Was Riley still tangled in others? That night, post-dinner haze of mulled wine, Charlie snapped. "Am I just Elena 2.0? A placeholder?" Riley recoiled, hurt flashing. "God. No. You're you stubborn. Talented. The woman who sees beauty in broken lines." Elena was past. "You're now." Nora, eavesdropping from the hall, intervened. "Stop. Both of you." "Mom, Riley, she talks about you like you're the horizon." "And Charlie, you're not replacing. You're adding." The apology came wrapped in tears. Arms around each other on the fire escape. City lights blurring below. "I'm scared," Charlie whispered. "Me too," Riley replied. "But worth it." Spring thawed Vermont's bones. Maple sap running sweet as Charlie's resolve hardened into something resembling hope. Nora's visits became weekends of exploration, hiking Camel's Hump, where she'd quiz Charlie on wildflowers. Elena's favorites, gallery openings where her digital prints hung beside Charlie's oils, a fusion of pixels and pigment that drew crowds. Riley tagged along less at first. Her freelance schedule a beast, shoots in the dead of night for fashion mags, editing marathons that left her bleary-eyed. But when she did come, the air hummed, her hand brushing Charlie's in the truck cab, stolen kisses in the attic under the slanted roof, bodies rediscovering touch like long-lost languages. "You're dangerous," Charlie murmured one April evening, tangled in sheets as rain pattered the panes. Riley's fingers traced her spine, lazy circles that sent shivers racing. "Good dangerous?" Riley asked, voice husky, lips grazing her collarbone. "The kind that makes me want to stay forever." But forever carried barbs. Charlie's dreams shifted, Elena's face morphing into Riley's mid-laugh, guilt twisting like vines. She dove deeper into work, prepping a solo show for June. Echoes unburied, canvases layered with translucent grief, hints of new color bleeding through. Theo previewed it, whistling low. "This is breakthrough stuff. Whitaker." Raw as hell. Nora sensed the undercurrents during a girls' trip to Montreal, just the two of them. Riley tied up in a Miami assignment. They wandered Viewport. Nora's arm linked through Charlie's. "Bestie." Lawrence glittering. "You love her, don't you?" Nora said over poutine at La Banquise, steam curling between them. Charlie paused, forked midway. "Riley, is complicated." Nora rolled her eyes, curls bouncing. "Life is. But Mom Elena, she'd want this." "I found her journal. You know. After you left that first time. Entries about you. How you healed her." Charlie's heart stuttered. "What did she say?" "That you were her light in the fog. And that if anything happened to her, to find joy again. Not replace, But reclaim. Back home. Charlie unearthed Elena's journals from the attic trunk. Pages yellowed with pressed leaves. Entries from their early days. Charlie's eyes hold storms I want to weather. Later ones. Post-Riley visits. Guilt is a thief. Stealing sleep. But Charlie's love is restitution. No mentions of Nora. The void a scar. Charlie wept. Then wrote her own entry in a fresh book. Forgiving you means forgiving me. Riley arrived unannounced the next week. Duffel slung over shoulder. Grin sheepish. Surprise shoot cancellation. Thought I'd crash your studio. They painted that night, Riley with her camera. Charlie with brushes, bodies close. Laughter spilling as indigo smeared cheeks. It tipped into lovemaking on the drop cloth. Urgent and tender. Riley's whispers mapping new territories. Here. Now. Us. But the past clawed back. A package came to the gallery, Elena's old friend from Dartmouth, sending a box of mementos, photos, a mixtape, a letter for Charlie. She spoke of you always, it read. And of Riley. With fondness. No regrets. Only gratitude. Theo read it over her shoulder. Brow furrowed. This life's messy. But yours? It's poetry in motion. The climax brewed in summer's heat wave. Nora, interning at a design firm, invited them to her birthday bash in Bushwick, a rooftop affair with string lights and synth pop. Charlie drove down. Riley shotgun. Tension thick as humidity. At the party, Nora pulled her aside. I have something for you. A custom piece. Digital collage of Elena's photo layered with Charlie's sketch. Riley's shot, 3 faces merging into one horizon. Tears pricked. It's perfect. Riley joined. Arm around Charlie's waist. Like us. But as fireworks cracked over the skyline, July 4th bleeding into Nora's 21st, Riley's ex appeared. Uninvited. Drama trailing like smoke. Tall. Toot. Voice slurred. You always pick the unavailable ones. First Elena. Now her ghost. The words landed like punches. Riley stiffened, shoving him back. Get out. That's not. Charlie's vision tunneled. Old wounds ripping. She fled to the stairwell. Breaths ragged. Nora found her. Hugging fierce. He's an asshole. Mom loves you. Really? Riley followed. Face ashen. Charlie. Wait. He's wrong. You're not a ghost. You're the future. They argued in the cab ride back. Charlie's voice cracking accusations. Riley's defenses fraying. I chose you. Every day. I choose. At the apartment. It peaked. Charlie hurling the locket across the room. Riley catching it midair. Then prove it. Tell me the whole truth. No more shadows. Riley sank to the floor. Head in hands. There was someone. After Elena left me. But it ended years ago. And with you. It's different. Scary different. Because I see a life. With Nora. With you. Maybe even Vermont winters. Charlie knelt. Hands framing Riley's face. I want that. But I need time. To trust. They held each other through the night. Bodies a bridge over the chasm. Dawn brought clarity. A walk to the river. Hands linked. We'll build slow, Riley said. Like your paintings. Layers. Nora. Bleary-eyed over breakfast. Grinned. About time you two figured it. Autumn returned, leaves turning the Hudson corridor into a flame-lit ribbon, as Charlie and Riley navigated the fragile new. Weekend shuttles became routine, Charlie's truck loaded with art supplies for Nora's dorm, Riley's lens capturing Burlington's quirks, farmers at City Market, bonfires on the beach. Their love deepened in stolen pockets, a weekend in the Catskills, hiking Cotterskill Falls, water roaring as they shed clothes under the cascade, bodies slick and alive, quiet dinners at Riley's, Nora mediating with playlists of Elena's favorites, Joni Mitchell crooning about circles. But self-doubt lingered. Charlie's shadow self whispering in the studio's hush. One night, post-show in Albany, her Echoes series selling out, Lydia the therapist reappeared, buying a piece, her touch on Charlie's arm lingering. "You look healed," she said. "Eyes warm." Charlie pulled away gently. "I am. With someone." Riley, waiting outside, saw the exchange through the window. Jealousy a brief flare. They drove home in silence, breaking over pie at a diner off exit 20. "Who was she?" Riley asked, fork scraping plate. "An echo," Charlie admitted. "But you're the song." Healing Mint excavation. Charlie invited Riley to the cemetery. Elena's stone mossing at the edges. Beloved. Unforgettable. They laid wildflowers, black-eyed Susans. Elena's pick, and Riley shared a story. The night Elena confessed the pregnancy. How they'd lain on a dorm roof. Stars wheeling. Deciding together. "She chose us both," Riley said. Hand in Charlie's. "You and Nora." Nora's growth anchored them. Home for Thanksgiving. She helped in the kitchen, chopping onions with Elena's precision. Tears streaming. "I miss her," she confessed. "But I have you too." The table groaned with turkey, Riley's vegan twist and gratitude. Toast rang to Elena. To beginnings. Winter brought tests. Riley's gallbladder flare-up landed her in Brooklyn Methodist. Charlie driving through a nor'easter. Nora pacing the waiting room. Post-surgery. Pale in the bed. Riley gripped Charlie's hand. "Don't leave." "Never," Charlie vowed. Kissing knuckles. Recovery meant nesting. Riley subletting her place. Crashing in Burlington for edits. Jasper warmed to her. Curling at her feet, the attic became shared. Riley's tripod beside easels. Collaborations blooming. Joint exhibit pitched to Theo. Intersections. Climax simmered in February's bite. An email from Elena's nonprofit. Archival footage for a doc on queer trailblazers. Charlie volunteered. Sifting tapes in Albany, Elena on panel. Vibrant. Discussing hidden families. One clip. Elena. Off mic. To a colleague. "My daughter. She's my secret strength." Charlie confronted the ghost. Then Riley. She was proud. Why hide? Riley sighed over Coco. Shame of the choice. But you were her pride. Nora's spring break tipped it. Trip to New Orleans for Mardi Gras. Escape. Beads flying. Jazz pulsing. They danced in the streets, Charlie and Riley twirling Nora between. A street artist sketched them. 3 women linked. Faces alight. Family, he called it. Back north. Conflict crested. Riley's ex sued for equipment, petty, but draining. Charlie offered help. Riley bristled. I handle my messes. Partners share, Charlie pushed. The fight spilled. Riley accusing Charlie of Elena's control. Charlie fearing abandonment. Nora mediated via video. Talk. Like adults. Reconciliation in the snow-globed woods. Trudging to a cabin Riley booked. No signal. Just them. Fireside confessions. Riley's fear of failing another love. Charlie's of loving too fiercely. Lovemaking mended. Slow and sacred. Bodies affirming words. Summer swelled. Lake swims cooling the heat. As their triad solidified. Nora's internship in Boston bridged worlds. Weekend split. Stories swapped. Charlie's show tour to NYC. Riley curating. Nora designing promo. Critics raved. A tapestry of loss and luminescence. But secrets festered. Riley's drawer yielded letters, not Elena's, but from her ex. Post-breakup pleas. Charlie found them cleaning. Heart sinking. Confrontation over wine. Why keep closure, Riley said. Burned most. These reminders not to rush. Hurt bloomed. Am I rushed? Riley pulled her close. Cherished. Nora sensed. Pulling a family therapy session via Mia's nudge virtual. With a Burlington counselor. Sessions unearthed. Charlie's abandonment from her dad's early death. Riley's from a nomadic mom. Nora's adoption void. We're wired for fear, the therapist said. But choose trust. Healing rituals emerged. Monthly Elena nights. Stories. Recipes. Tears. Charlie journaled. Pages filling with Riley's quirks. Her habit of humming while framing shots. The way her laugh rumbled like thunder. Fall harvest brought proposal of sorts. Riley. Over cider at a orchard. Knelt with a ring simple band. Engraved now. No ghosts. Just us. Charlie yes said. Tears salting kisses. Nora. Hiding in the leaves. Hooped. But betrayal's echo. Anonymous email to Charlie. Riley's ex claiming overlap. Lies. Panic surged. Charlie drove to Brooklyn. Confronting. Riley. Livid. Showed texts blocked. Reported. Believe me. I do, Charlie breathed. Collapse into arms. Climax in November gale. Storm down lines. Trapping them in the Victorian. Candles flickered. Jasper huddled. Stories turned confessional. Riley admitted a one-night slip years back. Pre-Charlie. Stupid. Lonely. Charlie revealed college fling doubts. Elena's jealousy. Forgive. Riley whispered. Already, Charlie said. Storm broke. Mirroring theirs. Winter wrapped them. Holidays a mosaic. Hanukkah lacks with Riley's kin via Zoom. Christmas tree trimmed with Elena's ornaments. Nora's lights twinkling. Vows planned for spring small. Lakeside. Mia officiating. Self-realization deepened. Charlie's book deal for Echoes. Memoir sketches. Riley's gallery solo. Revealed. Nora graduated. Speech on layered identities. Conflict peaked pre-wedding. Riley's mom visited critical. Old school. Eyeing Charlie. After Elena so soon? Riley defended. Charlie walked out. Doubt crashing. Alone by lake. Ice cracking. She called Mia. Am I dishonoring? No, Mia said. Honoring life. Riley found her. Words tumbling. You're my choice. Every time. Vows exchanged under Mayflowers. In fractures. We find whole. Honeymoon in Oregon, craggy coast. Whale watches sealed it. Nora joined postgrad. Bridge complete. Years layered like varnish. Nora's design firm in Burlington. Riley's studio in the attic. Charlie's classes at UVM. Family grew, adopted pup. Travels to Elena's roots. 1 October. Letters anniversary. They scattered ashes Riley kept. Champlain Shore. Nora reading poem. To mothers. Seen and unseen. Charlie. Armin Riley's. Felt the circle close. Not erasure, but expansion. Love a river. Carving new paths. Regret lingered soft. For Elena's untold pains. But gratitude swelled. For the letter. The arrival. The life unearthed. In the gallery's hush. Sketching Nora's wedding portrait years on. Charlie smiled. Past buried. But roots fed the bloom.